imagine losing a bundle that way? NFL runs a very responsible commercial of a Hail Mary touchdown that had a 0.001% chance of working. It worked. They don't show the play. They actually just show the X's.
People moving. Right.
And the commercial is for bet responsibly because the impossible happens here. And it does. We saw it yesterday. We saw it Saturday.
We saw it. I mean, that game was crazy. I don't know what the Patriots were doing there. That was beyond stupid. And for Jakobi Meyers, he was throwing the ball to Mac Jones. What is Mac Jones going to do with the ball?
That's who got trucked, by the way.
I mean, my God.
Chandler Jones just
put him into the center of the earth.
You had the Cowboys blow a huge lead to Jacksonville. Jacksonville wins in overtime on a defensive touchdown.
Houston almost beat Kansas City.
I know they did.
2 weeks in a row, Houston's played very well against Kansas City and Dallas.
It's crazy.
You had Tom Brady, who was 89-0 with a 17-point lead at home, lose. And, of course, you had the Vikings with the greatest comeback in the history of the history of the NFL, period.
Yeah.
It was just an insane weekend for all these
and
games.
when you get into, and I'll just say this, don't let them fool you into this. See, I started this a couple of years ago. I got into fantasy late, and usually I get in and I just win everything. That's just because of what I do up top. You know what I'm saying? But they get you.
Are you in first in our league? You are, right?
Yes.
The playoff matchups are set. In the first round, it'll be G versus Jason and me versus Earl.
Now, here's the crazy part about it. These dudes will get you because then when you start winning, everybody and mama wants you to get into a fantasy league. Fantasy leagues are gambling. I repeat that. Fantasy leagues are gambling. If you are in, I want to give the statistics. Boy, what's the statistic? If you in more than 3 leagues, if you're in 3 leagues, you lose in 2 of them leagues. So you lost that money, and if you win one, you broke even, maybe. So, yes, don't let these dudes at work and at church and at the PTA meeting and the golf club.
I'm in too many. I'm in 5 this year.
It's 7. And you have to
5?
Yeah. I was in 3.
I feel obligated with some of them.
Man, it's hard to keep them straight.
Jay, what was the topic that I put in there?
You would put it down, and we said it at the time. I remember it after the Jets game saying, this is the one. This is the game that in January we're going to say if. And that is playing out to be 1,000% true. The Browns' playoff chances, if they had won that Jets game, are over 50%.
Oh, this is some.
They currently stand at 0.7%.
Almost cussed.
So, I mean, if you talk about, and we have too,
over
the difference,
50%?
47 or 48%,
really?
I think. Now, I haven't done it after all of the games that happened yesterday.
Okay.
Here's what's crazy to me. We talk about, as we're judging this season, everybody's depressed. Everything is negative. This person's got to go. This coach has to go. This coach has to go. This one has to go. The game is a game of inches, both in the micro and the macro. That lead never, ever, ever should have been evaporated. Ever. I don't know, well, clearly because a 33-point deficit had never been dug out at. That was a longer shot. But that might be the only thing that we've seen happen this year that was a longer shot than the Browns blowing that lead. Because even when Baker Mayfield scored his 2 touchdowns in 4 minutes, there was a better chance that he could pull that off. It was like 99.1. Ours was 99.9. Yeah, that's the game that will stick in this season's crawl forever.
And it's the reason when you conditioning and you doing stuff. We used to have military coaches. The military coaches would have us out there doing the dumbest stuff I've ever seen in my life. And they make you pass out. You be flipping tires, carrying other linemen on your back, doing all kind of stuff, perfect push-ups. The reason they make you do that is not because it helps you be better. The reason they do that is they break you down to the lowest common denominator, and they make the weaklings quit. We don't want you on the team if you can't do this.
Right.
It's mental toughness.
Right.
It ain't physical. Right. Because when you're tired and you got to recover an onside kick, we don't want John Smo who gave up in push-ups. We don't want him that couldn't get up at 6 a.m. You got to be mentally strong. And in these games, when you look at them, people will. I don't got a problem if the Browns was just, physically outmanned by somebody.
They weren't the better team.
But these mental mistakes, you just can't accept them.
If they played the Jets right now, what would that score be?
Who's the Jets quarterback? Because that does make a difference.
To me, White and Zach are interchangeable.
I don't agree.
They both suck.
Mike Well, I don't think either's very
I
good.
think the Browns will
See your
win.
franchise quarterback?
But
I think the Browns will win.
No, but
not
Mike,
there.
I think Mike White's clearly better than Zach Wilson, and the team believes
Zach
in
Wilson
him.
had some moments yesterday.
The team doesn't
They
believe
didn't
in
lose
him.
that game because of Zach
the
Wilson.
team doesn't believe
would
in
the
him.
Browns would the Browns beat the Jets right now?
Yeah,
It's
that's
a toss-up. It could go either
Jay.
way.
What do you think would happen if they played right now? Deshaun is our quarterback.
I think they win.
I don't care.
I'm with Bull. I think it's a
toss-up,
toss-up.
of course
I think
it's
it's a
a
toss-up.
I think they would win too.
But-
I think they were the better team the first time they met.
But it's clearly a
But they
toss-up.
failed the
But
mental
here's-
test.
Yeah.
Right? But here's the thing, guys. Like, every team can point to a game they had a 95% chance of better winning.
Well,
and lost,
95
No,
and
this is
99.9 is
99.9
different.
Bull.
I understand
No,
that.
that's a
There's-
game. That's
Bull.
That's
It's inexcusable.
It's a
That doesn't
historic-
happen every year.
That's an indie
Should the Browns have won the game against the Buccaneers?
Sure.
No, but no.
Sure?
No,
Yeah.
they stole
They
that.
should have.
They stole
They
that.
stole that
But,
game.
Bull,
Did they win?
Bull, there's a
But
difference.
they lost. But you're saying the same thing the opposite
No,
day.
no.
No, no,
99.9% is that's.
Oh, so
that is-
so what was the Browns' odds of winning that game? 2% against
No,
the
it
Buccaneers?
was higher than that.
But no,
It
listen.
was higher than that.
Here's the bigger point.
They were down 2 scores.
No, here's the
Go
macro
ahead.
point to
Thank
make
you.
out of all this. This is why I have been adamant not to fire Kevin, is
Right.
because they haven't given up on him. They haven't quit. The Jets game that you're talking about was crippling. What did they do 4 days later? They won. They
did.
came back and won. The Dolphins game was awful. Coming off the bye week,
Came back.
embarrassing no-show. They lost the next one too, and it looked like everything was unraveling, and the season was on the brink. And then
Cincinnati
they stole
happened.
the Tampa game, and they beat Tampa.
okay.
Yeah.
But then they lose to Cincy, and okay,
No, no.
now it's over. No,
Oh,
no,
yeah, yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
examples.
Gotcha. Right.
The Cincinnati game, well, now you've lost any realistic shot at the playoffs. What are they going to do? They showed up and they won, and they beat a pretty good Baltimore team fighting for a playoff chance. This team hasn't quit on their head coach.
Brad, as a player who had played on championship teams and played on teams that did quit on their coach,
Okay.
because you've told us your your Minnesota experience, where they quit on the owner, but they also quit on the coach. I am 100% with what you just said, is that the fact that Kevin Stefanski didn't lose this team after that, that's as crippling a loss as I can remember in Browns history.
Right.
I just can't remember another loss. Obviously, the playoff loss are more memorable, and they but as in terms of regular season games, that was the most crippling loss I could ever remember, and they didn't quit on him.
No. Kevin's, from what I can tell, Kevin's a decent man, right? I don't think anybody has a problem with him as a man, right? What I find that people have a problem with is his ability to lead men into a place where they want to go. And no matter how they try, they keep coming back to the same thing. So at some point, I'm not advocating for them to get rid of Stefanski this year, but next year is it.
Shit.
This is it.
I do feel
This
like
is-
As you've said 15 times, they should fire him.
But here, they're not going to do it.
No, they're not gonna do it.
They're not going to do
They're
it.
not
So
gonna do it.
Brad,
I'm in the next year.
I'm wondering, so there's a difference. Like, it sounds so harsh when you call for a man's job, like he should be fired. But does anybody here believe that he's the best person for the job? Like, he's in the job now, so he's the incumbent. So, but that's no reason to keep him.
There's an unknown.
Well, here, if he can adjust, what he has failed to do is make this. You want him to adjust to become the CEO, right? Do that. That means go out and empower other people to do the things that you love to do. I know you love calling those plays, but now I need you to manage the ship and the enterprise, right?
Right.
Right. Find somebody competent and capable enough to do some of the things that you need to do, right? That's what needs to happen. He bucks the system every time. Every time he bucks the system. And because he's comfortable doing what he likes to do.
Here's the thing. I in general, I say as a city, as who we are as Browns fans, we just way too comfortable. We comfortable as hell. We comfortable as hell saying next year. We comfortable as hell saying we'll fix it one day, or he comfortable as hell.
Comfortable in mediocrity, G.
Yes, just it. And I can't even, like, right now we rooting for 8-8, and there's a lot of people. If you don't, I need somebody to come in and challenge people. You know who I Myles Garrett, right? Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward just showed you what he's capable of. I need somebody on Denzel Ward's ass every day.
to get that every week out of him.
Every day. What are you doing? We need that.
So I'm going to stop you there, right? Because you're absolutely right. There's a difference. So Bull's right. So they're comfortable in mediocrity, right?
That's why so many people wanted to stick with Baker.
what is
He
not-
won a playoff game. Let's stick with him.
What is not
We weren't
what is
mediocre
what is
for
not
the
me-
25
what is
years
not
prior to
me-
that.
what
We
is
were
not
horrible.
Yes.
Mediocre is this. Did you watch Deion Sanders when he walked in that Colorado locker room?
Man, boy.
That's how you challenge people.
Boy,
that's how I'm going to make you get
boy,
better.
that was life-changing.
That's how I'm going to make you get better.
I was
You're going to be
excited.
one way or the other.
But Jay, to your point,
I was
the
excited.
Browns was so bad that people were like, okay, we're mediocre now with Baker, so let's not mess with it. And everybody's so scared in this town because they won one playoff game that a lot of people were so comfortable sticking with mediocrity. We've seen now that Baker's not even mediocre.
If you want to be great, Bull, you have to be challenged.
That's true.
Somebody's got to challenge
Daily.
you, push your buttons.
Daily.
Right? And we don't like
They
to
need
do
an
that
ass
here.
kicker at DC.
Jay's got something he wants to throw in here.
No, I mean, Denzel Ward's a grown man with a massive contract. Why does he have to be motivated?
That's the way life
That's
is.
how it
Everybody
works.
got to be motivated. Everybody. If we come in here today, and they say, well, look, bro, y'all had a decent show today, and we come in here and don't stick to nothing on the script
Jason,
and leave. They're gonna be like, listen,
Did Kobe need to be motivated? Does LeBron need to be motivated? Did Michael need to be motivated?
I'm going to click you on one. Here's one for you. Playoffs. Bulls. Pippen. Kukoc. Last shot of the game. Phil say, I'm going to Kukoc. Scotty said, no, you're not. You're coming to me. Oh, no. Sit your ass down. Kukoc taking the shot. That's how he motivated. Kukoc goes out and makes the shot. Scotty's sitting there stunned at the end that he made this shot. And guess who came back to the fold harder and hungrier? Scotty, because he caught all the heat.
Well, David Blatt tried motivating LeBron.
that's
LeBron
Blatt.
said, scratch that.
That's
Give me
Blatt.
the ball. In Chicago.
but you can like
You're right. The irony of it, you're right.
But I tell you this, it doesn't matter how much money you make.
nah.
Sometimes they have to be challenged at a baseline
you know, though,
level.
in theory, your point is absolutely true, particularly for someone who has a work ethic and you don't understand bringing anything but 100% every day.
Right.
But I think the fact of the matter is, and I'm not saying Denzel is in this camp, what we've seen in modern day athletics is
Come on, keep coming.
there are guys
Keep coming.
that are there to get the check.
Keep coming. And when you get the check, when you secure the bag,
and
what happens?
Sometimes we see those guys get the check and they say, "Whew, I made it."
And
made
in
it.
layman's terms, you know what that is? You take your foot off the gas.
And isn't
Yeah.
it the organization's responsibility to identify those guys and get rid of them before you pay them?
Not give them the big security
That's what I'm
blanket.
saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get the bag, you take your foot off of it, and somebody got to get
And you don't know
realigned.
how you're gonna react until you
gotta
get it.
get realigned here.
And that
the
might be
pro-
something hard to
the
predict.
problem is, when you see it, Jason, in these sports, you have to call it out.
That's
and,
it.
And when you don't call it out,
they've taken half
there's a
of it off the
problem.
table. They've taken it out. You never call a player out in the media. Says who? Hey, Denzel, you ain't playing like it, bro.
You see what Belichick said after the game yesterday?
I guess
I went back and watched the video after Mike put it in the group text.
I had to see what Belichick. Let me tell you what Doug Collins used to say. In the locker room, this was, he didn't care who it was. If you were playing bad, you know what he would tell you? He'd go to you and be like, in front of everybody. Not quietly behind the scene, not in a plane, whispering in your ear. In the locker room, everybody tell you, you know you stealing. What? What? You know you stealing. Stealing what? You stealing the money. When I heard, I said, what you say to me? I'm like, stealing?
How did it motivate you? How did you
Oh,
respond?
yeah, I was like, oh, you a sucker. Ain't nobody stealing nothing,
I'm
right? I'm about to show you that I'm not stealing
the
nothing.
dude
went
in
harder
practice,
to
You
prove
had to go
wrong.
harder.
in practice, Brad was down there dream shaking, hesitation, pull-up game.
And the
You're like,
thing
where'd
is,
that come
Jason,
from?
I mean, Jay, and to the point, Jay, he didn't differentiate between anybody. He would tell anybody, the all-stars, anybody. If you was on your game, you still in the day. Like, oh,
We
like,
need
oh my
that.
God.
If Stefanski ain't gonna have it, he need him a Greg Williams. I remember
So
he
good
said,
cop, bad cop.
Yeah, I remember Greg Williams told Myles Garrett, "Hey, I don't want to see you doing nothing but a rip move.
Yeah.
No other moves for you, dog."
Well, that was stupid, though.
You know how disrespectful that is. To tell the
That
guy
was
to-
dumb, though. But that was dumb.
Aren't there different ways to motivate guys though? Like, I think we're trying to squeeze a one-box-fits-all
No, yeah,
tactic.
that doesn't work.
There are so many different ways.
No, at a high level, it's only one
But
thing.
they do.
It's one thing.
Did anybody
Threats.
see Kevin
Threats.
Stefanski's? Did anybody see Kevin Stefanski's locker room speech after the game? Did
Yes.
anyone see it?
Yes.
Yes.
What is this?
Was like
So,
it's so lame.
It was the
So-
same as all the other
Does
ones.
everybody like stats?
It's all-
Who likes
it's all-
stats?
it's all-
It was so lame, and I have been a bigger homer for Kevin Stefanski than anybody. I don't want to fire him, but like I think he does need an ass kicker as a DC.
Yes.
He needs a loud ass kicker as a DC.
And listen, I don't know who his training staff is.
Yeah.
I need it. You know what they used to do? They used to say, "Listen, I had 13 surgeries, right? You know what? I got the pass. I could not practice this day, or that day. But here's what they did. They made training with the trainer more difficult.
Yeah,
than
so
it
you
was
wanted to
practice.
practice.
I said, hell,
I had
I'm
those
about-
coaches.
I ain't about to do all that.
I ain't doing all that.
All
on the
that,
sideline.
y'all doing that?
When practice becomes easier than rehab.
Let me get over here and get
Yeah,
these reps in.
that's right.
Here's the line. Here's the line of the last 2 weeks. When he was going to Colorado, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing some luggage.
And it's
gonna be
Louis. And it's
gonna be
Louis.
Like,
Andrew Berry should be like this to Clowney. Hey, listen, I'm coming in this off season, and I got
he
a
won't
couple.
be back. Clowney's gone.
And I got a couple
Clowney's so
dudes
gone.
with me. I got.
Yeah.
No,
They
we're not
need to
doing
go.
that.
I don't know what their relationship was like in their
Louis.
time in
It's
Minnesota.
Louis, baby.
But I think Mike Zimmer is the right fit for DC. He's always been a great
Zimmer
defensive
just took the
coordinator.
job with
With
Deion.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
He's off the table.
He's done.
Yeah, no, they could
No,
totally
it's
still get him.
college.
They could totally still get him.
You think he
Yeah.
would do that?
Oh, sure. Pay him
Wow.
more money. Give him more money. Jimmy's got unlimited funds.
Would Zimmer wanna
Colorado
do
can't
that,
even
though?
afford Deion.
Would
Like
Z-
Colorado came out and said, "Yeah, we don't know how we're going to pay him yet,
But
but we're
we'll get
still
it.
trying to figure that out.
We'll get
but we'll
that
get it."
That is the funniest thing with the whole Deion. Jason,
Right?
you're right.
Mike
they
Zimmer
literally
is a
said we do
defensive
not
ass
have the
kicker.
money up front to pay for that.
And they don't.
So
but
they
they'll
can,
have
the,
a donor
The
that will
Browns
step
can
up.
surely pay, if that's who Kevin wants, the Browns can surely pay
I'm
Mike Zimmer
wondering,
more.
would Zimmer do that?
I don't
mean,
know.
It's like, you know what
Well-
that is.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he wants back in the NFL. I have no idea what his mindset is.
Right.
Yeah.
But if the Browns if they double what he's making in Colorado, which probably ain't a whole lot if they can't afford their head coach,
Right.
he would come. But I mean, he's not the only one out there. I'd love to get Brian
So-
Flores. I would love Brian.
I would
Flores.
take Flores in
as
a
defensive
heartbeat.
coordinator.
Heartbeat.
Yeah. I
Listen.
think he'd be great.
Listen,
But is he
shout out
off
to
limits
him.
because of what's going on?
I don't
He's
think
suing,
so.
He's suing the league.
And you know what the Steelers said? So what? Come on, you come work for
That's
us.
what I'm talking about. The Steelers
That's
is
the
like,
right mindset.
we like you. You want to sue the league? They ain't got nothing to do with us. Let's get this money. I need some dogs. If you look at it, it's just nothing worse. You need in Cleveland some dogs. You need somebody that you gonna say ain't afraid to take a 15, and it's going. I need somebody to come in and be like, "Hey, Miles, you could be better, dog. And here's how you gonna be better. I guarantee I got more sacks than you this year. Let's see it. Prove it." Somebody come in. I'm not your running mate. See,
Well, who the hell is that person?
you need a dog. Go
Aaron
find
Donald?
him.
Go find him. Go find him.
Go find him.
Go find
you
him.
guys, like he said, it's people everywhere.
People
You know
everywhere.
how we know? Because the Ravens kick our ass every year with them. Guys you ain't never heard of.
And they don't have to, as you said, they don't have to be big names.
No.
You know, the Eagles have 4 guys, not Indomitian Sue.
Right.
They have 4 guys who are going
Right.
to finish with double-digit sacks. Can anybody name any of them?
No.
No, they don't.
Josh Sweat.
Well, you're an Eagles fan. Or no, you're not.
No.
And I only know the one Sweat from the
They-
Commanders.
The Commanders,
Right?
no,
That's
Josh
We
Sweat.
get so enamored sometimes by big
Yeah,
names.
that's true.
By the way,
need
can,
the player.
Can we just spend a second on ringing the bell for the Eagles and what they've done?
My goodness.
Jalen Hurts, I hate the early MVP
My
discussions,
God.
but since it's only 3 weeks left, I think it's reasonable.
He's the MVP.
Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts should be the MVP.
I don't think it's too early to talk about that at all.
No.
In week 7 it is.
I think to me it's
the hay's
it's
almost in the barn
Hurts
here.
is 1, Mahomes 2,
Mahomes is always going to be in
and
the-
then either Josh Allen or Joe Burrow
So you
is
think,
3
you
to me.
think, you think about Jalen Hurts' travels. He got challenged. Lou Saban tried
Nick.
to stick it to him, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and he had to go rebuild himself somewhere else. He
Right.
bet on himself, right? So you have to get challenged. And he only got better because he got challenged.
But
right?
he's got nice pieces
Yeah.
around him. Like
Yeah.
I think
and
that
then,
Philadelphia.
And then you take a nice player and surround him with nice pieces.
Yes, that's
and
it.
good things
Their roster
typically
construction
happen.
is really impressive.
I don't think-
on both sides of the ball.
But again, who is doing the evaluation? Because somebody over there knows what the hell they're doing.
And what
Yeah.
the hell was the
By the way,
Titans
their
doing
GM,
giving up A.J.
their
Brown?
GM is a
That
big
was
time
dumb.
analytics guy also.
What was that?
Well, it's the league thinking that these receivers now are plug and play.
No, they ain't.
And they're not. And they're learning that. Green Bay's learning that. The Titans are learning that. Why would you?
I love Washington's receivers.
I like Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I do too.
I like the feistiness. A.J. Brown is a dog. He
a dog.
Every single time he
He a
on the
dog.
field, he's
They
like,
were
I'm
very
better than
stupid
you.
letting him go.
I'm better than
Yeah.
you. And you throw him with Jalen Hurts. And then one thing that you talked about with Jalen Hurts, you saw it last year. They said, oh, no, his teammates love him.
Yeah.
Oh, they like how he rolled. His leadership. He's everything Carson Wentz button.
They
Got to
got
be
war
one
for
of the
that guy.
biggest year 1 to year 2 jumps from a quarterback.
There's no question.
Yeah.
I mean, he went from being like just a runner
He was just a guy they put in the game.
to winning the MVP. I mean, it was crazy.
He was a cute play.
I've
You know
never.
what's weird though is Carson Wentz was you talked earlier about, so tell me who at 27 just suddenly was no good anymore. Carson Wentz, when Carson Wentz was an MVP.
Yep.
And he
No,
was,
he wasn't. He didn't win an MVP.
MVP candidate.
didn't win it, but
he got hurt.
MVP level and
he
got
probably
hurt.
would've won it.
Had
He
he
would've
not
won it,
been
yeah.
hurt, he would have won it.
Yeah.
And there's a guy where you were like, at some point you think, oh, he's arrived. He's turned the corner. He's
Right.
going to be here forever. And now Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz.
That just goes to show you the aggressiveness. They
It can't happen.
They not only got rid of their second overall pick, who was having an MVP season, who was hurt. They got rid of Doug Peterson, who was the
Won a Super
darling.
Bowl.
He was the.
And
he
by the
was
way, they're
top
better
three.
now than they have been at any point in the last 20
In
years.
fairness to Doug Peterson, the Jaguars are doing pretty well right now too.
He's doing
and
really
they
well
control their own destiny for the playoffs. in a
Isn't
bad
that crazy?
division.
And they don't
Yeah.
play a winning team the last three games.
You know, Trevor Lawrence looked great. He looked
playing
good. He
really well
looked
right
really
now.
good.
Turned the corner.
He looked great.
How about these?
And-
How about the quarterbacks in the AFC? I mean,
I know.
it is crazy how good.
That's
the
why you
quarter-
had to get Watson. Bull, back to your point from like
Absolutely.
the very
That's
first
why you had
show.
to get Watson.
From the very first show, that's why you go out and make a move for Watson. That's why you give up any and everything
That's
that
right.
You know
they
what?
ask for.
That's
'cause
what
you
they
need
did
an
in
elite
Denver,
quarterback.
too. That's what Denver said.
Yeah, but he was
Yeah.
a lot older. Like Russ
He's
was a lot
33.
older.
What's Russ? 33?
Yeah.
And Watson's 28?
But Jay, what was the
27.
alternative? Drew Lock?
See,
No,
what-
nothing.
what
Okay.
y'all
Stay the course.
What y'all forget about Russ is he's putting in a lot of work behind the scenes too. He be tired some days, man.
But I still
Hey, that's a
listen,
full-time
Jay,
job, too.
Full-time.
Let me tell you,
The
that
Browns
is a
had no
full-time job.
No matter how it turns out with Watson, they had to do it because they had no chance with Baker,
You on a
and
roll
now they got a
today.
chance.
You on a roll today.
Well, no, that
And I would
takes them
still
off the
make
hook
the Wilson
historically
roll.
if it doesn't work. That's not. I don't agree with that.
Man,
They had to go for it.
No, if it works, it's
Yeah.
a great move.
Yeah.
History's going to judge it.
Right, but I'm
And
saying
because it's an all or nothing move, it's going to judge it by winning a Super Bowl. It was a
I
great
know that,
trade.
but I think it was the right move. I think it was clearly the right move, no matter how it turns out, because they
Well,
weren't
no,
in
if
the
it doesn't
game.
work, Bull, it was the wrong move.
In your opinion, in my opinion, it was the right move anyway because they had no chance with Baker, in my opinion. So they had to take a chance with a quarterback that would give them a real shot in the
We have
AFC.
10 minutes left. Let's pick Packers Rams tonight.
Wait,
Baker-
before these picks are brought to us by Cleveland Whiskey. Cleveland Whiskey's Christmas
nice.
bourbon is available now.
Christmas
Visit your local
bourbon.
liquor store. Take some home today. It's whiskey without limits. Drink responsibly.
Toasty.
And if Baker goes off for 4 touchdowns, we know Bull's going to throw a couple back tonight. So Cleveland Whiskey, whiskey without limits.
Nothing's going to
Responsibly.
surprise. Whatever Baker does tonight, I won't be surprised.
I think Baker comes crashing back down to earth
You
tonight.
do?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So
Hey.
what Packers 21, Rams 13. Rams offense. I looked at their roster again yesterday.
Yeah.
That Rams offense. It's stunning this team won the Super Bowl last year. I know they've been decimated with injury, but I don't think this team there's not a worse offensive roster in football. I don't think.
here's what I think. I think Skip Bayless is going to be ready because I think Baker going to come back in here. They already got the montages ready from he did this last year, 4 interceptions. He going to be ready to. I think they get it done. I think
Rams over Packers?
Rams win. Van Jefferson has the game.
Brad, what do you got?
I like the Rams. I
like
think
the
I think
Rams.
I tell you,
Wow.
every time Baker plays crazily and like throws into the wind.
Bull, what do you think?
I got 27-3 Packers.
Blowout. You know, what's funny is we could. Of
course he does.
I love Bull.
He could go on and win the Super Bowl and he would say he sucks. and I'm going to pick against him every year next year.
That's false. A, that's not true. I always give him credit when he plays well.
Straight face too.
B, Baker has played like garbage the majority of his games the last 2 years. That's factually correct. And so why would I assume he would play well?
Just judging
just
off
ain't-
the last.
he's so
By the way, I'm
affirmative.
picking the Packers too, but I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be very boring too. I think it's going to be low scoring. Neither offense.
It's supposed
does
to be
anything
bad
for
weather
me.
there.
Is there
It is. That's why I think it's going to be low scoring, close, and not. I don't think there's going to be fireworks on either
Who
side.
has more in the tank, Aaron Rodgers or Brady?
Jesus. I think they're both on
They're both
fumes.
for fumes.
I-
Brady on fumes.
I'm with Brady.
In
I'd take
fairness
Brady.
to
with
Rodgers, Brady's got much better talent around him.
Yeah, he does.
Brady's
Yeah.
got excellent receivers.
They
Rodgers
did.
got nobody.
Hey, they you know.
Although
they-
that Christian Watson has played well. the last few weeks.
Brady looked like a
Watson's- he's a
45-year-old dude.
I don't
This
care.
year.
I'll
He's
stick
gonna
with
be
Brady.
good.
They
I'll stick
choked.
with
Hey,
Brady.
it looked like they choked Aaron Rodgers out slowly, slow tap.
Although
He was like,
I've mentioned a couple times now, I
Yeah.
do wonder if he's regretted coming back.
I don't think
They
you have to
should've
wonder
just-
anymore.
just wa- just
I
walk off,
think he
just stay off.
absolutely regrets it.
These guys just don't know what to do with themselves after they retire.
No, they don't.
kinda
But
sad.
nobody wants their final chapter to be what Aaron has been. or even Brady. I mean, they're not dead yet in the playoffs, but they're what, 6 and 8 now?
They're in first place.
They have the Browns
They're
record, and they're in
6
first
and 8.
place.
They're going to have a home
They're
playoff
6
game.
and 8, and the other 3 teams are 5 and 9.
That
That's
division should be
disgusting.
contracted. That's horrible.
Relegation
The
needs to
AFC
be
South
inserted.
are not much better.
Now
You know
we're
what?
going-
Last
now
year
we're
we were
going to
saying that
soccer
about the NFC
relegation
East,
now.
and look at them this year.
That division's
I
awful.
mean, think about it.
Yeah, but at least the NFC East, at least the
Can't they put in a rule if you're not 500, you lose your playoff spot?
3 years in a row under 500, you get relegated.
You got
Browns would be done.
But they're
You
going
gotta go to the Big Ten.
more than
The
likely.
XFL exists for that
Go to
exact
where?
reason
You
now.
gotta go to the Big Ten. Browns is on the other side of the Big Ten.
But-
They gotta play Michigan.
But there could be a team that wins its division and hosts a playoff game with a losing record.
There will be a team. No,
That
it's,
happened with
it's
the
almost
Seahawks one
it's
year.
almost guaranteed to happen.
It's pitiful. If
Unless-
you're under
unless
500, you're out. You go find another wild card team and put them in. You at least have to finish.
So it's the
500.
Bulls league. The Bull was telling me about the fantasy league rule that I wish was in play in my fantasy league.
Yeah.
I finished 3rd in points for. Won it last year. 3rd in points for. I finished 9th in the standings.
Yeah.
I lost 4 games by 2 points or less. 3 under 1 point.
Wow.
Under 1 point. I mean, it's the worst luck of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here destroying it this week in a it doesn't matter. But we play for 7th place too in my league.
you got them consolation
Yeah,
brackets?
so
Yeah,
I'm gonna win. I'm probably gonna score, the most
Well-
points. And what does it mean? That's a shot.
that's-
That's a hell of a shot.
Well, think about it. Dallas is going to be. Dallas is going. We know Dallas routinely chokes in the playoffs, but they'll be a big favorite over whoever wins the NFC South in the first round.
Oh,
And-
absolutely they will.
and
Well,
what-
they won't play.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, Dallas
It'll
gonna
be
be
Yeah,
the
because
five.
the Eagles will get the bye.
Yeah.
The Eagles have the bye.
And Dallas is going to be the 5 seed, and so the NFC South winner will be. And then the AFC South winner.
But they'll have to go on the road.
Right, but that team's terrible. Whoever wins the NFC South is terrible.
Do you want to play Brady on the road in a playoff game? I don't.
I just. If it's Brady, I don't know what it's going to definitely be
I think-
Brady.
I got a quick question.
And then in the
Oh,
AFC, whoever wins the South, the Titans or the Jaguars, are going to host either Baltimore or maybe Cincinnati, the Chargers or the Dolphins. Like, those teams will all be big favorites over who wins
Who's
the
Cincinnati
South.
have left? They're going to clearly win the division now,
It's
right?
not. Well, they still have a tough schedule. They're at New England this week. Then
That's easy.
Then
They play head-to-head still. Baltimore and Cincy have another game.
That's the
head-to-head.
last game of the year in Cincy. And the Bengals play the Bills on Monday Night Football on January 2nd.
This may be the dumbest
Oh, they
question
do?
ever,
Oh, wow.
but I need y'all's help. I've always wondered this. How is it that when the 2 referees is underneath the goalpost, that they know it's good without looking up?
Yeah, no, it's weird. I think they do look up.
they
Don't
look up.
They look up, G. What are you talking about?
I don't think they look up like that, bro.
Yeah,
like
no, they do.
they
track the ball.
But see, when it's way up top, and say
Yeah.
for instance, it goes over the pole. Like
If
it
the
goes
ball
over-
disappears, it's good.
What you mean?
It has to be outside the upright if it's over the upright for it to be a miss. So in
Yeah.
other words, if it goes directly over the upright, and because the officials stand directly underneath the uprights, they look up, and if the ball disappears, the kick is good. If they see part of the ball, if they see the ball on the left, if you're on the left upright, or the right on the right upright, then the kick is no good.
By the
See, I
way,
never
guys,
knew that.
did you see? I mean, there was some terrible officiating in the. First of all, that last touchdown the Raiders scored to tie the game.
Oh, my God,
It seemed like he was
absolutely.
clearly out of bounds.
I know.
And then, did anybody watch the end of the Washington Giants game last night?
I did.
I turned it off.
Now,
Turned it
Washington
off.
may have lost anyway, but Washington, what was it, 3rd down?
Oh, when it was 17-12.
No,
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 it was 2012, the last
8,
drive of the
yeah.
game.
20 to 12. Washington throws a touchdown pass, and they called.
No, they ran it, didn't they? They ran it.
Oh, they ran
They,
it.
they ran with Brian Robinson.
But they called a.
McLaurin,
Yeah. Yeah.
illegal formation.
Yeah,
illegal
was-
formation,
he was
even
lying.
though McLaurin had just asked the ref if he was good.
Yeah, that's a stupid rule.
It's
Like,
such a
it's dumb.
terrible rule.
Like- Dumb.
Explain to me how in football you can send a man in motion, give him a head start,
But he's got
full head of speed,
Yeah.
and you can snap it, and that's okay. But if Terry McLaurin is 6 inches back or forward, that's
But he
that's
had
cheating.
he had just asked the ref, and then on the next play, I don't remember who it was who was the receiver, but he got basically tackled in the end zone, Mike.
yeah, it
Oh,
was
was it
definitely.
Kurt-
Listen, as someone who roots for the Giants, who his family roots for the Giants,
Yeah.
I certainly thought it was a great, respectable call.
No,
I
it
saw
was
nothing wrong with
two
either
calls
of
in
those.
a row, just screwed over Washington.
I mean,
Homer.
How do we know?
Listen.
How do we know the line judge didn't say to McLaurin, no, like move up or move up?
He did. He told him. He
And
said
he
move up, and then he moved up.
Oh, he moved up like a quarter of an inch. He barely moved.
See,
he barely moved.
Come on.
It's a dumb rule.
Well, here's what I hate. It's like calling a runner out for coming inside
Yeah.
the baseline at first base. Like, this happens a lot,
Yeah.
and it's not called.
it's
And you're going to
crazy.
call it there?
That's ridiculous.
I was like,
It was a bad.
see,
And then they swallow the whistle on the next play.
A referee umpire is not supposed to be seen at the end of the game. They injected
Ever.
themselves 2 times. The
Ever.
lineup at the end when
It better be so
McLaurin,
egregious.
and then the pass interference penalty
next play.
that they didn't even call.
On the next play,
Can I ask you guys?
We have 60 seconds.
60
Jason, whatever
seconds.
you're doing, make it quick.
I think pass interference in the league should be 15 yards, not a spot foul. It's too egregious.
Like college?
Just like college. You're given such an advantage. Like, especially if the ball was not catchable or
Yeah, you're making the assumption that he would have caught it
Like,
if not interfered for, and that's
nah.
not always the case.
15-yard penalty. I'm sorry.
I think
can't
the
do it.
fear is DBs will be even more aggressive pulling guys down when they get beat because it's only 15 and not a spot foul. And maybe even less catches and more penalties.
And the league wants more, not less,
Yeah.
and when it comes to offense.
But I don't disagree with your
Late
point.
hit should- I
It's
think-
very punitive.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think late hit should be reviewable.
I am
Or
now 1 for
illegal
47 on water
roughing the
bottle
passer.
shots. I want that on the record.
1 for 47.
One for
There's
47.
somebody-
See you tomorrow.
Yes.
I like where you're
Yes.
trending, though.
I think maybe, hey, real quick idea, 20-second idea. We'll end final takes at like 57 from now on, and then everyone gets a water bottle shot, and we'll take it on camera, and we'll end the show every day.
like what you're doing with
a water
that.
bottle shot.
Yeah.
I like what
Tomorrow,
you're
I have to
doing.
DJ
go over my
Hazmat
head.
debuts his
DJ
new song.
Hazmat, I love that guy.
Debuts his song on the show with Didi, and a very special guest that I can't tell you about, but a very special guest that
All
Mike
right.
Polk will go crazy for.
Peace out. See you tomorrow.
Out of here.
Somebody's outside.
Yeah.